All right. Hey, everyone. Mark here. Mark P Markets. Thank you for joining me for another Bitcoin video analysis session. Okay, so we have quite a few things to talk about here. So let's get this thing started. All right, I am streaming on TradingView. Let me pull this over here. And so I can see what's going on here in the chat. All right, so welcome to the stream. If you're new, let me explain how this works. So first, I'm going to go over the economic calendar. This is something that I do each week so that we can be aware of any important events that we need to help mitigate risk around. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that real quick. I'm just going to mention it real quick. Then we're going to talk about this Bitcoin situation, which has a lot of attention right now. And I'm going to talk about the high probability areas that we need to be aware of as this thing tests the previous all-time high. Okay, we're going to talk about that, and maybe we'll have some time for a trade idea, a trade scanner trade if Stian is around, and then maybe I can answer a question or two. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Let's get right into this. Let's get started. Hold on, let me just pull up this chart, this thing here. This is, can I get this thing? What's going on here? Can you guys see my, there we go. This is for educational purposes only. For investment advice, please consult a licensed investment advisor. There we go. Okay, cool. So if you're new to the stream, like I said, welcome. If you want to share what city or what country you are from, that's always a fun fact. I'm streaming from the greater New York City area, also known as Northern New Jersey. Okay. Now, also just a couple of quick announcements on TradingView. I got an email or whatever, a message from TradingView that mentioned that they're planning to phase out their streaming feature on the platform. Okay, so listen carefully. So next week, I'm not going to stream on TradingView. All right, I will continue to stream on YouTube and on Twitter, and I'm trying to fix my Rumble connection so that I can stream on there as well. But they're going to phase this out in the next couple of weeks. So there's no point in me setting all this up on everything when they're basically phasing out the feature. Okay, so just want to make sure you're clear on that. If you're confused, send them an email, I guess. But I don't want to get emails of people saying to me, how come you weren't on? Because I'm not going, setting this up is kind of it's cumbersome for me anyway. So since they're phasing it out, I'm not going to stream next week. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. All right, you guys clear on that? Anyone want to chime in and give me a yes or a no? Hold on, let me refresh this because I'm not seeing any chat. Hold on a second. I'm going to refresh my chat. If I get kicked out, I'll come back in. Hold on a second, guys. All right, hold on. Can you guys, I can't see any chats. Can you guys hear me? All right, from Thailand, cool. All right, hold on. I got to set up my charts again. Because, man, hold on, guys. I gotta get my chart back on here. Now I see. Hold on. Okay, cool. Now I see you guys. All right, cool. In TradingView, I don't see you guys over there. If you can't see me or whatever, just refresh the browser. That usually solves the problem. Am I even on TradingView? I should be. I'm not. I don't see an error. Let me just refresh that too. Okay. I think I'm streaming on there. I don't see that I'm streaming though. Oh, I see myself on there, but I don't see the thing on TradingView that lets people know that I'm streaming. So anyway, see, they don't like me. There's Malad. All right, cool. All right. So you guys, again, just to be clear, you guys know that they're going to phase out their feature. Okay, their streaming feature. So I'm not going to be on TradingView next week. I'm not going to stream on there anymore because there's no point. I will continue on YouTube. I will be on Twitter, and again, I'm working on Rumble. All right, cool. Hey, Kai, good to see you. Fardell, cool. Noel, good to see you. All right, and cool, good to see you. Alex from Romania, Christos. All right, good to see all my regulars. All right, cool, good to see everyone. All right, so let's do the economic calendar real quick. Oh yeah, by the way, hold on. Before I talk about that, If you check the links in the description, do me a favor, press the like button, press the subscribe button, check the links in the description. I'm running a 50% coupon on my yearly trade signal packages. So if you want to save 50%, I'm running it. It's my spring break special, okay? You can click on the link in the description. It'll take you to the page. Take advantage of this. Here's why. Because we are working on the trade scanner script right now. Okay, Stian showed me, he's sent me some interesting pictures of what it looks like because, you know, it's in development and it looks really compelling. All right. Basically, we're converting the trade scanner. If you don't know, we're converting the trade scanner, which is my signal bot. We're converting that into a script that you can put on your TradingView charts. So this opens up a whole new world of possibilities for you because you can now take the script and put it on any chart on any time frame. So if you want to watch a chart that maybe my scanner doesn't scan, like Link, for example, or some other coin or a stock or a Forex pair, whatever, you can watch that market and you can do a 1 minute chart, a 5 minute chart, whatever time frame you want. So this makes it a lot more convenient and puts it in your hands so that you can customize the signal more to your style. All right. And it gives you the stop, the take profit. It's got a trailing stop. I mean, it's really cool. All right. So the reason why I mention this is because my active investors will automatically get the script because you have to get permission. We have to send out like an invite to get the permission on TradingView. That's how it's going to work. So my active investors will automatically get that. Okay. But the other memberships, I don't know. I'm figuring that out. The point is, if you're a member, chances are you'll have access to the script. Okay. Otherwise, it's going to be its own package. So I'm just letting you know that right now. It's not going to be unreasonably priced. I know that. And I'm going to have a 14-day free trial on it. I'm not going to have, I'm not going to do a 30-day because I see the guys doing these 30-day free trials. You have to realize these 30-day free trials, you're just trialing the scanner, the tool itself, right? With me, you're getting more than just the tool. You're getting my meetings. You're getting my meeting archives. You're getting the altcoin channel that we have where Alex is putting his altcoin picks. You're getting a lot of stuff. I'm not going to have that for 30 days. I understand the argument on both sides, but I'm probably going to do a 14-day. Okay, just so you guys know. So it's in the works. It should be, he's made a lot of progress in a short period of time. I'm very happy about what he's shown me, but we still have some time before this thing is done. We have to test it and stuff like that, and then we have to get it on TradingView and all that other stuff, right? It has to be accepted by them and whatever. You guys get it? So consider the 50% savings. Right now, you can get that. It's available the whole week. All right. And when the trade scanner script is complete, I'm going to be demonstrating it on here. On my streams, I'm going to be running it so you guys can see. And I'm going to be taking, probably in the beginning, I'll do paper trades with it. All right. So you'll see what I'm talking about and I can demonstrate it. But it's very straightforward. And it really clings to my whole philosophy of less is more. Okay, the chart is very clean. There's no garbage all over it. And it's very easy to see where to get in, where to get out. And it gives you all the answers. It takes the burden of analysis off your hands. And all you have to do is basically manage the trade, which I've done many lessons on how to manage a trade for the trade scanner now. The trade scanner right now just sends you an email and it's limited to the markets and it's limited on the time frame, right? So that's why I thought maybe if I give it to people and put it in their hands, they can get much more out of it. Anyway, all right, enough of that. But that's what's on the horizon. Just letting you guys know. All right. Otherwise, there are a couple of links in the description. We have the affiliate links, right, for Bybit and for Mexi. Those are Stian's affiliate links. So when you open an account and you fund an account and you place trades, Stian gets a small cut of the transaction, which goes a long way into helping him do the work that he's doing and supporting the community. All right. So just wanted to let you know, we appreciate the people that have opened accounts there and that place trades. All right, cool. So good. Sean from Seattle, how are you? Good to see you. You're over there now. Okay. I got the TradingView streaming notification. Oh, cool. All right. Well, great, because they're going to phase out the feature anyway. So a lot of good, Alex. A lot of good that does. All right, cool. So let me just look at the chat here. Just checking out, making sure I'm catching up here. I appreciate if you could answer my question during the stream. Are we going to have an alt season? Okay, I'll get to that. We have a higher low. Should we? Okay, I see some questions. All right, I'll get to your questions. So just leave the questions there. I'll get back to that. Let's move along here and let's talk about first the economic calendar real quick. I'm not going to spend much time on this. All right, so you should all check your economic calendar. There's one on TradingView. There's, it doesn't matter which one you check. We're only looking for certain reports each week, okay? Because certain times of the week or certain times of the month, there are scheduled reports that come out every month, right? So this week I was looking and you realize that this week is a holiday week, okay? We have a religious week. Friday is a religious holiday. And then, Sunday and all that stuff, right? So that typically affects volume. So volume, I would anticipate volume across the board to get lighter as we get closer to Friday. I believe the markets also, I believe they're on a half-day schedule. I'm not sure. I'm talking about like the stock market and stuff. I saw an email about that, but I'm not sure. I never read the email, so I don't know exactly what the schedule is. But I believe that there's a holiday schedule in effect for the stock market. All right, maybe someone else knows something about that. But anyway, so keep that in mind. That's the first thing to understand. The second thing is, what are we looking for on the economic calendar? We're looking for CPI report. I haven't seen one this week. We're looking for PPI report. Haven't seen that. That was all the previous week, right? We're looking for non-farm payrolls. That was the week before. So no non-farm payrolls. We're looking for FOMC meetings. That was the previous week. We have no meetings. I don't see any testimony from Chairman Powell. So the only thing that I saw on the calendar was something called consumer consumption expenditure or some weird thing like that, which I've never seen before. And that was on Friday. Okay, so that's not an important report. I would not pay attention to that. Then I saw a GDP report. I think it was on Thursday. But GDP is old information, right? It's not something that the Fed makes decisions on or this and that and this and that. So these are not major market moving numbers. So I would qualify this week, or I would say that this week is a non-event week. There's nothing really that important coming out as far as economic news. All right. So all that just to say that. But it's important to realize this so that when there is an important report on the calendar, you recognize it and you know that you should not take major aggressive positions going into it. You should try to avoid, and you should try to either take profits off the table, minimize positions, things like that, because you want to mitigate risk, especially going into something like a non-farm payrolls or something like an FOMC meeting where there can be a dramatic surprise and cause a range expansion that you're not expecting. All right. Markets are highly random, and you need to understand that. All right. So that's enough of that. Let's get into the chart, shall we? So we're going to talk about this Bitcoin situation. One thing I want to say about this is people don't realize how this game works. Okay. And this is why you're coming here to watch me, to get some insight, this and that. But I'm here to tell you that I don't want you to depend on me. You need to learn how to depend on yourself. Okay. And you need to be able to judge markets in an objective way. That's why I have my training program. There's a link for that. But I'm not here to sell that. What I'm here to mention, though, is that this is what you need to realize. When we look at a chart like this, all right, and you're like, oh, yeah, it looks strong. And you go to YouTube or whatever, right, and you go to all these videos. There's all these videos saying, new high is around the corner. We're going to 100K, blah, blah, blah. You have to realize that it's human nature to project this and say, well, it looks good. So you think automatically that the next candle will do this, right? That is what we automatically think. That is how we think. That's nature, right? But that's not real. Here's the problem with this game. The problem with this game is it's not intuitive. The reason why it is not intuitive is because we can't see reality. We cannot see the orders that are sitting in this area. We cannot see that. You can pretend to see it, right? You have your order book on Coinbase. Oh, I could see it. That's not real. We don't know what's really going on here. We don't know the limit orders. We don't know if there's a large limit order. And usually if a large player is trying to sell something big, they don't advertise it. They don't sit there and put 1,000 contracts for sale right here so that the whole world can see it. They'll just sell one at a time, okay, with a bot, with an algo, so that you can't see what they're doing. They hide all of their actions. If they usually put a big order on the order book, it's to fool you. It's to make you react, right? That's one thing. So you have to understand. Here's how I want you to understand this game. Here's the analogy that I want you to consider. It's like playing a game, think of like a game like soccer, or a game like baseball, you're familiar with how the game is played, right? You see the other players, the opponents, you kick the ball, and you have to score a goal, right? So imagine playing soccer or something like baseball or something like chess, but with a blindfold on. You'd be like, well, that's ridiculous. I can't win like that. Exactly. And that's exactly what you're doing here. You're playing the same type of game. You're playing soccer with a blindfold on. You're playing chess with a blindfold on. You have no idea what the opponent is doing. You just see something in front of you and you react to it. That's the reality of this game. That is why everyone fails, okay? Because it's not intuitive. And then to make matters worse, you have all these people on TikTok and wherever, all these platforms, they feed you even more nonsense and they fuel your greed even further. So you combine all that and you see something like this, you're, this thing's going to go to the moon. I'm going to be a millionaire, right? Those are your natural thoughts. You have to unplug yourself from that. The herd mentality is your enemy. Human nature is your enemy. Like I wrote in my TradingView article yesterday, the people that make money in this game are the ones who know how to exploit the mistakes of others. That is what a trader does. Investing, that's another story, but we're talking about being a trader. We're talking about short-term. We're trying to capitalize on short-term movements. Short-term movements are where the mistakes are, okay? And if you want to make money, you have to look to see what these mistakes look like. There are patterns to them, and we're going to talk about that here. All right, so I just wanted to preface this with that little analogy, that little speech. All right, I'm just looking to see you guys have questions here. All right, so let's talk about, there's a bunch of questions. I'm going to get to the questions. Let's talk about what's going on with this situation. All right, and what I have here. So on my TradingView article, I talked about this is a high probability support level, okay, failed low area, which we haven't even entertained, okay? In my article, I wrote, if we broke the inside bar high, 66K, then that would be a new buy signal. I wrote it in my article. You can read the article, all right? And here we are. This thing has run a few thousand points, right? And it's following my illustration so far, this squiggle over here. That's one scenario that I would be anticipating. Now, we are in this high probability reversal zone right now. This is a resistance zone. Now, understand something. We're not trying to forecast the future. If you do that, you are a fool because you're trying to do that in something that is generally random, right? So this is not the point of this here is not to know the future. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find probabilities, areas where we can gauge a probability that we can put in our favor. Okay, what I mean by put in our favor is if we know that there's a high chance of bearish reversal here and we're interested in a short, well, then we know probabilities on our side if we take a short. Now, I don't short this thing. I'm not advertising to short this thing, but I'm just saying this area would be a place to take profits if you're long, unload, reduce risk. That's the point, because this is a high probability reversal zone, right? And you're like, oh, but it's not reversing. That's right, because it doesn't mean that it will. We blew through this zone previously, right? We made the highest high and then we gave it back, right? So we compromised the zone only to go back inside, right? And that was the sign right there that this thing is pulling back. Now, here we are in the zone again. There's no red candle on the daily chart. There's nothing here. So at the moment, okay, we can assume that strength still resides. But, you know, what if the next candle or two, what if we get a bearish pin bar right there? That would be in line with what we can anticipate here as far as high probability of bearish reversal. Does that make sense? So how this information is useful, for one, is on the smaller time frames, right? You're not going to, shorting this thing now is a bad idea. We don't even have a bearish signal, okay? A lot of people like to step in front of it. That's a high risk thing to do when you're shorting something that's strong and something that's very irrational like Bitcoin. So something like this, you want to watch the smaller time frames, like a 4 hour, like an hourly, okay, something like that. And if you get the signal there, you could probably pull a couple of 100 points out if it pulls back, because this thing can easily pull back a couple of 100 points and be going nowhere. It could just form an inside bar, right? You don't want to make the mistake that this thing's going to go all the way back to here, because we don't know if it will. The question is, if it does, then we have something to consider, right? If price happened to pull back here. But as you can see, my illustration on the chart, right? I'm anticipating the reversal, no sign of it yet. So this could be wrong, right? These scenarios, it's just one scenario out of countless scenarios. You realize I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot with these. I just put one scenario. It's like the one I'd be looking for, and the market doesn't have to show it. The market can do what it wants to do, right? I don't pretend to know where the market's going, like I said. Now, if we reverse here, the place to look, this would be like basically the next best area to look for the next bullish reversal if we don't get back to these lows, right? So again, this is going to affect day traders and swing traders. These lines, by the way, these horizontal lines, these are not randomly placed lines. These are the previous all-time highs that date back to 2021, right? That's what those are. So as you can see, we're fooling around inside of them. Now, let me point something else out that you do not see on this chart, and you will not see on any chart. There is a zone. I measured it before, okay? And it looks something like this. It goes up to like 76.8. It's something like this. The zone looks like this. This is the next reversal zone. So if this thing gets cleared, right, and this candle either expands or the next candle looks like this and basically compromises the zone, and over the next few days, we don't pull back. Listen carefully. We don't pull back into the zone. We do not. Then chances are we're going to go for the higher high. Okay. Now, if we go for the higher high, that cancels out this potential B wave, right? Because this was the A wave. When after 5 waves, I'm gonna revert over to the wave count real quick. After 5 waves, usually you get some type of corrective wave, but you don't know the magnitude of it. So we had this pullback, right? There's 3 legs in there. So I would consider this the A wave. Typically, the B wave tests the high again. It's possible that the B wave could make the higher high. It's possible, but I'm going to talk about the exception in a moment. And then the next pullback, right? So that's why I say navigating, I call this navigating the corrective cycle, because at this moment, we can still consider this a part of the corrective cycle, right? In terms of wave counts. So back to the reversal zone, if we get into this zone, right, the B wave is likely canceled and we're likely going to make another leg higher unless you get the reversal in the next candle, right? If we get a reversal, or maybe you get something like this where it blows through, you know, you get like this, it blows through and everyone's like, oh, new all-time highs. And you're going to see all the video thumbnails with a rocket on it and Bitcoin, and you're going to be a billionaire, right? And then what happens after that is you get like this big outside bar and it closes right back below the zone. Kind of like this situation back here. If you get that, this zone is still in play. Make sure you write this somewhere, because what happens is people lose their minds when it gets into the zone and breaks out of the zone, and they think, oh, okay, you know, this is strong. This is going to 80K. Like, these are the things you're naturally going to think. But if, big if, the market shows these reversal patterns, then it's a fake out. And that's what you have to pay attention to. So this zone up here is a high probability reversal, bearish reversal zone again, and it's vulnerable for longs. Bad place to put on a new long. Extremely bad place for investors. I will always say that at highs. Now, the news is going to be reporting new all-time highs, and they're going to be getting a lot of attention, and you're going to have a lot of morons jumping in at these levels. That's not the right place to be jumping in. Okay? So the reason is, you may say, but it's strong. Who cares? Maybe it pulls back a little bit, but in a week, it'll be at 80K. Who cares, right? Well, what you don't realize is you don't consider the risk. Okay. And the risk is very high. This thing can pull all the way back to here. You realize it can, and that would still be within reason. That would not even be a bearish trend. That's just a healthy, normal pullback. That's the risk. And if you use leverage, it's even worse, right? This thing can do 10,000 points in just in a matter of hours, like it has done over here. So you have to realize the risk. No one is going to advertise the risk. No one talks about the risk. Everyone just wants you to think, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It won't really pull back. It doesn't pull back. You are the one who's going to get caught in it. All right. So that's what I'm warning you here. And I'm showing you some potential scenarios that we can see throughout this week. going into the holiday, possibly into early next week. Does that make sense? So right now we can still call this the B wave, right? Because we don't know how this thing is going to play out. If we get the bearish reversal right away, then chances are this is the B wave. And if it is the B wave, I would be looking for the pullback back to this area, right? Which is what, the 63K area. If we blow through, I'd be looking for 73.8 to 76.8, right? This area. So again, this could be helpful if you're a day trader as well. We blow through, you're still looking for longs. You're looking for pullbacks on your smaller time frame. This is where the trade scanner script will be extremely valuable, because you'll be able to pull up a 2-minute, a 5-minute, and get those small retraces to participate in these moves, right? And I'm going to demonstrate that, so don't worry. But so that's one thing I want to point out, right? So you have this reversal zone up in this area. And now let me point out another one, which again, no one is going to talk about this. Let's go to the monthly chart, okay? So this is the monthly chart. Now keep in mind, after we get the 5 waves like I talked about, again, if we don't get much of a pullback, if the corrective structure doesn't really take hold, which at this moment, it doesn't really look like that yet. It's hard to judge right now. But let's say if we go for the higher highs and we don't reverse between 73 and 76, whatever, right? And we just keep going, that's a possibility. If we do, then wave 5, there's an extension taking place, okay? And that can happen. Now, let me point something out. We're above this high here, right? Between that high, that was the previous all-time high, 69K, whatever. Between there and it's like 83K. All right, I've measured this previously. That's why I know the numbers. I'm not just randomly drawing lines here. This is a measurement. There's this zone, which is the monthly magnitude zone, and we're in it, right? Which means it can take weeks or months before this thing puts in a real reversal, right? I mean, look at these monthly candles going back. These are monthly candles. These take an entire month to develop, okay? So if we get like a monthly candle that looks like this, but we get it inside of here, that's a very bearish sign. Now, what do we have in a month? We have the halving, right? It's less than a month. We have the halving. What if this is buy the rumor, sell the news? And what if whatever catalyst is driving this thing stops, okay? And we get that nasty sell candle on this monthly in this zone. If we get that, that is a reversal zone on this magnitude, which means a larger magnitude pullback will be likely in that scenario. So please keep that in mind. That's going to be most important for investors, okay? Because that's who is usually exposed to those type of retraces. You realize Bitcoin has not had a monthly retrace, a real retrace, for months. So, you say, well, where can this thing pull back to? It can easily pull back to like an old resistance, like back here. What is this level here? 47K on a monthly. That's still within reason. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just trying, what I'm trying to point out is the risk. Okay. Does that make sense? You guys clear on that? So I'm trying to give you some perspective here. I know people complain and they say that I'm a pessimist, and I'm not a pessimist. I'm realistic. I'm trying to give you realistic scenarios so that you know what to expect. At this moment, I would be looking for day trades on the long side, day trades. If this thing turns around, I get stopped out, whatever, and then I don't continue to look for day trades, right? Especially if we get a daily reversal candle inside this zone. Does that make sense? Over time, you'll be able to think in a multiple time frame way, right? So that may be confusing for a beginner. It took me a long time to be able to think in multiple time frames. Just keep in mind that the larger time frame carries more weight than the smaller time frame, okay? But the risk is smaller on the smaller time frame. Proportionally, your stops should be tight relative to this time frame. You can't mix time frames, right? You can't take a day trade and say, well, I'll hold it and see what the daily chart does. You can't do that. You're going to get stopped out every time because the proportion needs to match, right? And again, the trade scanner script will address that and take care of that for you. So you won't have to worry, figure all that out. The burden of analysis will be taken off your hands. All right, let me answer some. There's Stian. All right, cool. Hey, Stian, I've been telling him about the script. What a great job you're doing. I'm so happy to see that, to see that script, the way it's developing. Okay, so I'm going to look back at your questions now. Let me see what's going on here. So Stian shared ADA. Cool. This is the ADA trade. We're going to take a look at that here in a moment. But let me look back at your questions. So we got Noel from Thailand. All right, it's good to see you. Christos from Belgium. Yes, I'm very popular in Belgium. All right, so Fardell, I'll get to your question. Kai, again, it's good to see you. Kev, Sullivan County. Okay, I don't know where that is. Okay, so I'm going to answer the question about the altcoin season. We have a higher low. All right, so I'm just looking back. Let me see. I don't want to miss anything here. I saw a head and shoulders reversal on chart and BTC. Okay, you must mean inverted head and shoulders. Yeah, don't get caught up with that. Don't get caught up with that. I'm telling you right now. I mean, it's a classic chart pattern, but you're better off working with just double tops, double bottoms, higher lows and lower highs. You're better off working. Don't get caught up with the head and shoulders. All right. A lot of times it's irrelevant. Now, and especially don't project those. Oh, it's going to go to 74K. It's random. It's random. I'm telling you right now. All right. Now, so let me answer this question about altcoin season. Okay. So just because Bitcoin is doing this, I don't know. Alex actually has a lot more insight about altcoin season. From the stuff that I've seen him share, the altcoins have done their move. So you're buying the top of it. Okay. So let's take a look real quick. Let's take a look at something like, what's it called? Total 3. Total 3 is the market cap without Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically this is your altcoin, right? This is your altcoin market right here. And let's go to a weekly. So look, I mean, yeah, you're following along Bitcoin and you're asking me, do you think altcoin season? We've been in altcoin season. Okay. I mean, look at this. So it's not just starting here. It's the top. I mean, we can count, this is got the same wave count as Bitcoin pretty much, right? And this is a 5th wave up in this area. So altcoin season, you're nuts. Here's the other thing. Altcoins, we have this situation where there's interest in altcoins because we have this Bitcoin run and everyone's excited and all this nonsense, right? You have to understand something. And again, people don't talk about this because it's not in play right now, but you have to pay attention to the bond market, right? And I think this is a big factor. I know it's been out of play. Let's look at the monthly chart on the bonds, 10-year note. I mean, look at this. Interest rates are not changing. They're not improving. That's important for altcoin season because while Bitcoin may be making the new highs, right? Is everyone long Bitcoin? Where is the money going to come from for altcoins to have their season, which has, is pretty much in history now? Where's the money going to come from? This was my argument about Bitcoin, but a new catalyst came along that I was not expecting. Okay, the ETF nonsense. That's what drove Bitcoin. I was looking for the bonds to help proliferate the bubble, not these ridiculous ETF companies, right? So you have to realize too that so we're in a strange situation. Interest rates are not improving. Okay, bond prices are going lower. If bond prices go lower, this is clearly a bearish trend. If bond prices push lows, we may see bank failures again, although the US government somehow seems to keep that under control. Now, the government expenditures are what are generating all this inflation from the way I understand it, because they spend as much, there's irresponsible expenditures taking place. They just spend. They write a check and now new money is created. It's not coming from the central bank. It's coming from fiscal policy or whatever you want to call it, right? So if that's the case and the bonds are not on board with that, that's a very strange situation, right? So we have all this inflation, but it's not people, it's the government. Now, that's not good because it puts the Federal Reserve in a tough spot, okay? And if they cut rates, the US dollar is just going to be worthless, right? They can't cut rates. I mean, if they can do whatever they want, but if they do, we're going to be pushing our money around in wheelbarrows over here. So I don't know. Okay, but as far as altcoin season goes, if we go back to 2021 or 2020, when we had the ridiculous altcoin season, right, where everyone became a billionaire, where early investors are going to make millions and billions, right? Remember that? That came from low interest rates and stimulus checks. We don't have that now. Okay, so we're seeing like gold and we're seeing Bitcoin. Part of it is the catalyst from the ETF. Look at gold. What's gold at right now? 2172, right? This is an inflation gauge right here. So as the dollar just becomes worth less and less, right, we see hard assets like gold doing its thing. And Bitcoin may also be catching some benefit from that as well, on top of the ETF nonsense. So look at this pin bar on gold. Anyway, so I hope that gives you some perspective on that. That's what I think about altcoin season. If I would not be investing now, you missed the boat. All right, maybe if you find like a new nonsense coin, like Alex pointed out, toilet paper coin, or some other ridiculous meme coin, and you get in early on it because you found it in a chat room. Okay, great. Maybe you can make some money that way. But I would not be going in here with any degree of confidence now. We're at the top. You're supposed to do that when no one is talking about altcoins, when no one is getting rich, when they're at the bottom, when everyone is getting rid of them because they say these things are going to zero. That's when you want to do that. We're not at the bottom of a cycle right now. We're at the top of a cycle. So I hope that gives you some perspective. Again, I don't want to scare you away from investing, but I just want you to understand that the risk is greatest now. Same with the stock market. Okay. We have this situation, but anyway, all right. You guys clear on that? So what I believe is driving this is inflation, and that the value of our dollar just shrinking, and all this money that's being created. I'm not an economist, but that's from what I gather, that's what it seems. Okay. So I hope that was a very long answer. I hope I answered your question. All right. Isn't the C wave supposed to be the lower than? Yeah, but we're not in a C wave. The C wave is supposed to be lower than the A wave. But the thing is, no, see, corrective waves, they're confusing. They can be in patterns of 3 or 5, right? So the A wave in this case only has 3 legs, right? The A, B, C completes A. Then we have 3 legs on B, A, B, C. So when this leg completes, that could be the B wave if it completes soon. If it doesn't complete soon, this is not a B wave. Okay. And then the next C wave is likely to take it back here. It doesn't have to make a lower low. It doesn't have to. It could be like an even. It could be like a double bottom, which is also known as a running flat, I believe, or a flat corrective pattern. There's names for this stuff. You don't need to know the names. Anyway, all you need to know is double bottom, double top, failed low, failed high, right? That makes it simple. Less is more in this game, as I always point out to people. Less is more. All right, let me just go back. So I answered that one question. Alex had a question. Okay, so Tillin asked about, is it how probable the correction is over? I really don't know how probable. I don't know if it's over. I'd say 50-50. We have to see how this plays out. If this blows through, then the correction is over. Like I said before, if we see this and we get through the next zone, then the correction is over. But at this point, you say, well, by that time, the move is over. Well, so you have to decide, if you're willing to take the risk. And that's what it always goes back to. Are you willing to take the risk? If you're on looking at this time frame and you're like, well, I want to invest on the bigger time frame, you're taking the most risk. So if you want to do that, if you're comfortable with that, okay, just realize that over time, if you keep taking those big risks, you are going to get caught. Okay, that I can tell you. All right. Yeah, Alex, I think he means inverted. Okay. All right. 64K entry trade I've put on. Oh, nice. Oh, so Alex, he put this trade, he shared the 64K entry trade I've put on. Okay, cool. Nice. Where Alex, was that in the community chat you shared that? Or was that in like one of the premium channels? Okay. Alex has been on top of stuff. Okay. Oh, Steen is on the road. That's why. Okay, no problem, Steen. Hey, Will, good to see you. I'm just going back. I'd be interested to know what you think of Ford. Okay, hold on. I think I'll have some time. Wait for the Ethereum ETF in May. Yeah. More hype nonsense. Okay. Do you think NAS 100 is at the top? Okay, so we're getting some questions about the stock market. I can answer that. Would you swap your alts for... would I swap them? Well, first, I don't have any alts, to be honest. I don't have any. In the free channel. Oh, in the free channel. Cool. It was based... Oh, cool. All right, so in the community chat. Yeah, by the way, there's a link to that in the description as well if you want to join the Discord community. check the link in the description. We have a free channel area. I'm making some changes to that, by the way, soon. So I don't have them done yet. So it's not worth me mentioning it right now, but I have some changes on the way where I'm going to have some new membership options and this and that. But Alex, and I'll talk to you about that as well, because that's going to change some priorities as far as what information goes in what channel. But right now, the free channel has a lot of really cool, valuable information. So go there. All right. So I want to go over this trade that Stian shared. Okay. Oh, but hold on. So you guys are asking about the NASDAQ and the what was the other one here? NASDAQ and Ford. All right. So I'll do Ford real quick, and then we'll do the NASDAQ. Right. So Ford. I don't know if they had a quarterly report recently. I don't follow the stock. Let's go to the weekly. Ford is typically a market stock. I mean, with the market generally doing as well as it has been, shouldn't Ford be at its highs, at least a recent swing high? So this is not a great looking chart in my opinion. We do have, over previous weeks, we have a higher low. We have a consolidation, higher low right here. It's trying to make the higher high, but you have a lot of resistance. You have one here, right? You have one in this area here. So you're facing, a number of resistance levels, right? So when you're dealing with something like that, for one, if you take this breakout, your risk is going to have to be defined by this range low. So if you want to get involved in something like that, you're better off waiting for a test of low or at least a higher low. The breakout may work, but you're taking more risk. That's the whole concept is the risk, not the reward, right? We focus on the reward. So do you think it's going to continue? I don't know. It might, but usually when you're dealing with resistance levels, usually this becomes problematic, and that's usually where most people buy, right? And you don't want to get caught in that. So if you want to take that chance, and if it goes the wrong way on you right away, then I would suggest getting out. But if you want to wait for better prices, okay, take lower risk, you're looking at this entire area right here, possibly. Now, when you're dealing with a stock, especially a stock like Ford, you want to take a look at things like the S&P. I'm not going to go over that right now, but let's do the NASDAQ real quick. NSX, USD. Okay, this is the NASDAQ 100. And the question here is this the top? Looks similar to Ford, does it not? So here's the thing. This is, again, a function of inflation. You realize this market has been nothing but bullish since October, first week of November. You see that? That was the bottom. Since then, I mean, this has just been nonsensical, right? It just keeps making higher low, higher low. We consolidate, we make the higher high. This thing is being driven by, we're not, we have AI hype and all this other nonsense, but do we have really great expansion? Are we like in an expansive phase economically? No, this is inflation. All right. It takes more dollars to buy these assets. So is this the top? I don't know. This trend is bullish. There's no question, right? There's nothing bearish about it. We haven't broken any support levels on the NASDAQ. Until we do, we can't assume that it's in a corrective mode at all. So look, we have a pin bar today. For day trades, sure, you can take shorts if you're interested in day trades, but swing trades or investing, I would, first of all, I wouldn't short these things. They're strong, or, inflation, whatever's driving it, I don't question it. It's strong. I stay out of its way, right? But the way to play something like this is look for the higher low or look for the failed low. Right, see this situation right here? See this? I'm going to make this nice and big so you can see it. See that situation right there? That's a failed low, right? So that got a lot of people short typically, right? They say, oh, it made a lower low. So they all get short right in here. And a lot of times this coincides with like a non-farm payrolls, or it coincides with an FOMC meeting. The bottom is established. It's a failed low. This is a higher low consolidation because it's higher than these lows, right? And then you get the squeeze. So again, situation like this is what you want to find, you want to wait for. Now, on this time frame, this can take a week or two to develop. You need the pullback, you need the higher low or the failed low. The failed lows have a better probability than the higher low, in my opinion. And there's a reason for that. People are getting caught on the wrong side. Remember I said earlier, what profit comes from others' mistakes in this game. And when you have everyone getting short over here, and they're caught, this is what happens, right? They're getting margined out. They're getting pushed out of their positions. All right. Does that make sense? I hope I answered that question. Let's go back to Bitcoin. All right. Let me see what other questions that I have here. So you guys clear on this, just as far as what to anticipate over the next few days? Don't get mixed up. My biggest message is don't get mixed up in all the hype and all the nonsense. Learn to rely on yourself. And you can do that using a price chart. It is possible. You notice I don't have oscillators on here. I don't have any garbage on here. I just have lines that I draw. These are reference points that are relevant to price structure and price proportions, right? These movements, the proportional movements, that's all this is, because this is how emotion expresses itself in the form of prices, right? Because markets are driven by greed and fear, which are emotions. So if you're trying to sit there and you're trying to cling to logic and you're like, whoa, the facts and figures say this, you're just fooling yourself. All right. Okay, but it was on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, Alex, that makes sense. Nice trade, by the way. I wish I found your channel before I torched 24K on leverage. Oh, man, $24,000. I'm sorry, man. I get that a lot. People say, man, I wish I found you years ago. Yeah, well, years ago, not you, but years ago, everyone was all caught up with, I'm going to be a billionaire tomorrow. And what I was saying was not sexy. And what I was saying, which I still say, you don't want to, most people don't want to hear until they run into your situation. Then they say, there's more to it than this game, than this magic money that everyone's talking about. I wonder what it is. Okay. Anyway, well, all right. I hope, you know what? Stick around, follow me. You'll learn. That's a painful lesson, but that's usually the best way to learn, right? We've all been there. Okay. I've been there plenty of times. All right. QRTEA switch to bullish. Okay. Hold on. All right. Oh, Steen. Cool. Steen is back. All right. So look, I want to spend a little time here on the trade that Steen shared. Okay. Cardano. You guys want to see Cardano? I want to see it. So this is a trade scanner call. So again, the trade scanner is my bot. In case you're not familiar with it, it sends an email, right, when a signal comes out. So it's convenient. You could check it from your phone, whatever, and you place a trade. It tells you to stop, take profit. But obviously, from the feedback that I've gotten, the email is not convenient enough. So we're doing the script. But let's go back to that Cardano trade, which was on the trade scanner. If you want to see the trade scanner results, we do have a results page. You could see how this thing has been acting for the recent few months, okay? It's a momentum system, by the way. If you're wondering like how it works, the trade scanner is a momentum system. It needs to define the trend, and then it needs to find a pullback, and then it needs to find a confirmation, and it looks for a pullback within a trend. That's what it does, so that you don't have to do that, right? Now, here's it called Cardano short. Let's pull this up. ADA, USD. So we could pull it up here on Coinbase. Cardano. Okay. So here's Cardano. Now we're going to go to the 4-hour chart. Okay. Because this is typically the time frame that the trade scanner uses. Now it called it short. So let's put the orders on the screen, shall we? So the stop is at 66.21. Let me get that here on here. Okay, hold on. I'm going to start with the take profit. So the take profit is 59.43. 59.43 is like over here. Man, this doesn't look like a good short, Steen. Okay, it's around there. 59.43 is like in this area. Here, I'll draw it just a little lower so it can be a little more accurate on it. All right, 59.43. It's like around there somewhere, okay? Then we have the entry, which was 64.18. It's around this area right there, right? That's the entry. Now the stop loss is at 66.21. It's around here. Actually, is this thing stopped out? I think it is. Yeah, this thing stopped out. So the stop is at 66.21. Is that right? 66.21, 59.43. All right, so this is basically what it looks like, okay? This take profit looks a lot longer than it should be, but all right, I guess these are the numbers. 64.18. That's basically it. All right, it doesn't match exactly, but that's basically it. So let's talk about this trade. Now, this is how the trades will be laid out on the script, by the way. Okay. No, it isn't a good trade, but that was called a good example for evaluating before entering. Ah, I see why he shared. Okay, but you know what? I don't want to see just good trades, right? I don't want to see just positive trades. I want to give a realistic picture. The trade scanner doesn't call green trades 99% of the time. I'm going to show you a 100% win rate system. How many times have you heard that? That's not real. Okay, so my trade scanner has losing trades, and it's good to see them. You know why? Because those trades are the ones you learn the most from when it comes to management. Often there's an opportunity to get out earlier before this thing gets stopped out. Okay. It doesn't just go straight to the stop a lot of times. A lot of times there's an opportunity to get out earlier, and you need to learn how to do that. And that is how you outperform the trade scanner. If you were able to reduce your loss, like instead of taking 100% stop, if you instead take a 25% stop, okay, instead of the full stop, you're saving yourself a ton of money. And then meanwhile, when it goes to the take profit, you're making all that. So what happens is over time, your reward risk gets skewed more favorable. So instead of 1.5 to 1, now you're dealing with 3 to 1 in your favor, right? And that's what the whole point of the trailing stop is. That's why we're doing the trailing stop. The trailing stop, by the way, has been implemented on the trade scanner right now that we have available now. Right? There is a trailing stop. You can actually see it in the member dashboard. Right? Is that right, Stian? So anyway, let's just evaluate this trade because again, it was called short right here. Okay, and you'd be like, man, why would it call this thing short? Well, it makes sense. Look at the general structure. This is certainly not bullish, right? So the momentum is bearish, and that's so it's basically seeing that the trend on this time frame is classified as bearish. Now it failed to go lower here, so that was one red flag that the robot can't see. All right, but okay, it found another level over here, and this is a failed high. So if you're using your analysis and say, well, that makes sense. It's a failed high. You got a bearish pin bar, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So if you took that short, what took place next? Now let's look at the next candle. I've gone over this kind of stuff many times. Look at the next candle. You see that? Can anyone tell me what that is? Actually, you guys may be confused on this one, so I'll just tell you. That would be an inside bar. Okay, that's not a bearish pin bar. That's an inside bar because it's inside. I mean, it looks like a bearish pin bar, but it's still inside the range of the original bearish pin bar. Okay, so we can consider that an inside bar because it's inside the range. Now, the trade scanner is a momentum system, which means if you take a trade, you're expecting momentum. Does this look like positive momentum to you? Right? Let's get rid of let's hide this candle right here. Right? We're going to hide the result. So this is what you saw at the time of entry, okay, for a short. Right? You following me? The next candle gives you basically an inside bar inside of this area right here. Gives you an inside bar, closes what looks bearish, right? And then the next candle takes that high out. Now let me ask you, does that action look favorable? The obvious answer is no. That's not bearish momentum. If you are in a short and you take a candle that looks like this, a bearish pin bar on a 4-hour chart, the next candle should look like that. That is what you are expecting. This is very important for trade management. So if you get something other than this, that means there's probably no momentum. Okay? So when we play this thing out, you can see obviously, right? We know the outcome. It gets stopped out. So if you're sitting there watching this thing, at one point this candle was red. And you're like, okay, cool. And then 4 hours go by. And during the 4 hours, you're like, this shouldn't be taken out this high, that inside bar high. So that is your opportunity. Now, if you don't do anything, because again, your stop is up here. If you don't do anything, I mean, by the time this thing went straight to the stop. Okay, so if you don't do anything, it goes to the stop and you're stopped out. But if you said, well, it shouldn't take out that inside bar high, I'm getting out. You had at least a couple hours. I don't know how long it took this candle. Let's go to we can go to a 5-minute chart and see how long that move took. Okay. So I'm assuming the inside bar high was actually, you know what? We can draw the inside bar high here so we can see the point of reference. Let's go back to our inside bar high, right? Where is it? This is the daily chart. Let's go back to our 4-hour. Right, here's our inside bar high is right here. So I'm just going to highlight that so we can see it on the 5-minute. Right, so this is the 5-minute, and no, that's the where's my no, that's the 5-month. I'm sorry. I need to go to the 5-minute. Am I on the 5-minute? Yeah, I am in the 5-minute. Okay, where's my square? Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is the time that you when it started doing this right here. Okay, you had plenty of time. Once it broke out here, you have 5 minutes. I mean, within 10 minutes, this thing was 10, 15 minutes. You could have gotten out at a slightly better price. Let's just say somewhere around there. Okay, if you got out and you saved yourself something. It wasn't a great save, but you saved yourself something without having to take the full stop. I mean, ideally, you're getting out at the break of the inside bar high, and you're saving yourself all of that. So does that make sense? Let's go back to the 4-hour. Does that make sense to you guys? I know it may be confusing at times. Let's make this bigger here. Back to the 4-hour. But that's what you're watching. Because this candle should not do this if you're short. That's not the candle you're looking for. All right, makes sense, you guys? Let me see what you guys are saying. On the exchange we use for the bot, the trade is not yet stopped out. Oh, okay. So it depends on the exchange, obviously, that you use, because we use an API or whatever. So it may not match the exchange exactly, but you should be out of this thing. Okay, and you should have been out. I mean, you could have used this point as a reference. Now, I'm pointing this out because there will be times when you don't have such a reference. You could use this high over here if you want. You could use that if you want to use the pin bar high and say, okay, it shouldn't be above that, I'm getting out. You can use that reference as well, but you have to decide. If you are indecisive and you don't want to do anything, well, you have the stop loss. Okay, that's the whole point of the stop loss. But managing a trade allows you to reduce your stop loss. And especially when, if the trade had moved, let's say the trade was favorable, right? A little more favorable than it was. Let's say you got like a red candle like that. With our trailing stop feature, your stop would actually be lower. Okay, it would actually move this amount, right? So your stop would be like, lower. It'd be something like this, right? Your stop would be something like this up here. So again, it helps you save something. And it's giving you the point of reference. Obviously, you have to place the order or you have to move the stop yourself in the market, right? It's not going to do that for you, but it's giving you the price. That's the whole point of it. And when you catch a runner, when this thing runs, or like something like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is notorious for these runs where it doesn't pull back. That's really where the trailing stop is very valuable. Okay, it can help you capture a lot more than you would using the 1 to 1.5 to 1 reward risk take profit level. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay. Cool. So let me see over here on TradingView what you guys are saying. What do you think about the bond market? Okay, I answered that question. Good question. All right, I answered those questions. So again, just as a reminder, TradingView is phasing out their streaming feature, right? I mentioned that at the beginning of the stream here. So for those that joined after, I want you to just be clear that TradingView is phasing out their streaming feature. So I'm not going to stream on TradingView anymore because there's no point if they're going to phase it out very soon, right? So I will continue obviously on YouTube. I will continue on Twitter, and I will continue on. I should have Rumble fixed soon. It just takes. I can't concentrate on that right now, but I'll have that fixed, and I'll be on there too. Okay, but you can always find me here. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, they're oh, sorry, Sean. Okay. Yeah, they, I guess they're that's not where their priorities are either. Okay, so you guys clear? Any questions? Any questions? So we went over the Cardano trade. You guys see how that Cardano situation works? So when you have a trade scanner trade, you have to learn how to manage it, right? And that's really where you're developing your skill, because getting into a trade can be very confusing. It takes a long time to figure out how to time that part. But if you have something, right, that's doing it for you regularly, it makes it a lot easier. Because again, one of the biggest problems that I see with beginners is they're always jumping to new things. And that makes sense, because you try something, it doesn't work. You try something else, it doesn't work, right? So you're jumping to things all the time until eventually you start to figure out all the things that don't work, and you find the things that work and you put them together, right? Well, the trade scanner, that's been done for you. So all you have to do is trust it and then manage the trade. Now, I teach my people how to do analysis before the trade scanner goes off, so that you can decide if even if you want to take that signal. Sometimes the signals don't make sense. Sometimes, in light of the context, right, of the structure, it doesn't make sense. Like, I'm gonna stay away from this one, right? And sometimes you could spot that, but sometimes, like that Cardano trade, it made sense, and it still went the wrong way. Okay, and that may have something to do with the Bitcoin squeeze as well, right? Because they follow each other. If Bitcoin had pulled back, that Cardano trade probably would have been green. All right. Monica, what platform are you? Coinbase. I'm in the UK and can't use Bybit. Oh, Stian, you knew that? Well, how about MEXC? Can you use MEXC? I use Coinbase because I'm in the US, and I can't use Bybit either. In fact, I can't use most exchanges. Right, the US is blocked from like every exchange. So Coinbase Pro. So I don't really have too many choices, unless I'm going to do the whole VPN thing, but that's a pain. That's a real pain. Binance is good in the UK. Oh, okay. Thanks, Will. So yeah, you have to shop around there, but you maybe check out MEXC. At least if you're on that, Stian gets a small cut. Don't use Polynex. Okay, that's from Will there. Thanks, Will. Cool. All right, you guys. I've been on for an hour. If you guys want to catch me with, if you have other questions, come to the Discord community. Alex has a lot of interesting information in the community chat. I mean, he shared that Bitcoin trade, which was nice of him. So there's always some stuff in there, and I'm trying to share more notes and stuff. Again, it's hard for me right now because I have, there's always other things on my plate, but we have things coming. Okay, locked up coins for 4 months. Oh, well, that's a good reason not to use Poloniex. All right, cool. So any other questions real quick? Poloniex locked up my coins for months in 2017. Doesn't Goldman Sachs own a piece of them or something like that? I don't know. I don't know why I think that. Poloniex. Or maybe I'm thinking of Circle and they own Poloniex. I don't know. All right, cool, guys. So again, check the links in the description. Take advantage of the 50% savings on my yearly packages, okay? Just go to the link in the description. You can find the thing there, and you can go on there, and you can save 50%. That's a big savings, and there's a lot of benefits to that. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, so everyone, again, thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your evening, wherever you are in the world, and thank you. Thank you for watching.